If you load up Zanzibar, crouch walk into this nook on the map, and then jump precisely onto this crack, you'll get launched into the air. This is called the Super Bounce, one of the many neat glitches present in Halo 2. There are dozens of identified super bouncers all throughout the multiplayer maps. Crouch walking into specific areas causes a desynchronization of the player. If you let go of crouch while you walk into these areas, you'll see yourself as walking into the wall without moving, but other players will see you as walking through the wall. When you jump on the crack, which is actually a polygon seam on the map, the desync you've created makes the player sink into the level itself, between the seam. The game goes to correct this and applies force to your character to lodge you out, but because the game thinks you're stuck in the actual level geometry, it uses a massive amount of force to lodge you free. I spent hours when I was younger learning and practicing super bouncers to use in game. They weren't very practical, but they were super fun to pull off. Halo 2 has a bunch of cool mechanics like this. Let's have a look at another. Sword flying is one, used predominantly in speedruns. Normally, if you're in proper range of an enemy while you wield an energy sword, your character will lunge at them. The regular range of an energy sword is pretty short, so you can't lunge a large distance. But if we could extend that range, theoretically we could launch ourselves anywhere. Sword flying does exactly this. You'll obviously need an energy sword and any other secondary, though a scoped weapon is preferable as we're going to be using the red reticle of that weapon to launch ourselves. The further the effective range of the weapon, the further we'll fly. Point your secondary at the enemy when you're in maximum effective range. Then, in quick succession, press Y to switch weapons, X to reload, RT to shoot, and you'll fly across the map towards them. When you switch weapons, the range of the weapon being switched out is still applied to the new weapon being drawn for 2 frames. Normally, you can't do anything with this as the switch animation is longer than the 2 frames and you can't use the new weapon until the animation is completed, but by reloading immediately after switching, we can cancel that animation, giving us a very small window where the energy sword has the effective range of the switched out weapon, so that when we attack, we lunge across the entire distance. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the multiple vehicle-based glitches you can pull off. We'll start off with tank jumping, load up the mission Delta Halo, get the Scorpion to the chapter You Break It, You Buy It, clear out all the enemies and blow up the energy shield next to this fountain, which will let you then drive the tank onto the shield emitter. All you have to do now is wait for the shields to turn back on, then fire the cannon and the tank will launch into the air. You can also use the flip mechanic to launch both the tank and the player. Load up the map Coagulation and drive the tank up the rock near the shotgun spawn until it flips over. Then get another tank and drive that on top of the first. When you go to flip the first tank, it'll launch the other tank into the air, sometimes even breaking the map boundaries. Launching the player works in the same way, just instead of driving a second tank on top of the flipped tank, you can just stand on it and flip it from there. If you want to increase your height, then you can equip an overshield as well. Flipping a Phantom is possible. If you get close enough to one, you'll be prompted to flip a Banshee, causing the Phantom to flip around. This is because these bigger vehicles use a Banshee as a base, and so keep all the properties of one. You can also find idle Phantoms hidden around campaign maps if you know where to look. For example, on the mission outskirts, if you can get on top of this group of buildings, you'll find one tucked away in the corner that you can flip to your heart's content. Keep in mind, if you want to get to these parts of the map, you'll need the Sputnik Skull. This will let you use grenades to launch vehicles into higher areas. Ghosts specifically are great for this. Finally, we'll have a look at bringing the Spectre into the control room on the final mission, The Great Journey. You'll want to take the Spectre from this elite at the start of the mission and store it somewhere safe. Then, proceed with the mission as normal until we get to this part here where we face Johnson in the Scarab. Right after the cutscene plays out, we can take one of these Banshees and head back to where we've stored our Spectre and begin the glitch proper. We'll ride the Spectre along this ridge on the right here until we're able to get on top of the structure. Position our Spectre on this section and wait while Johnson blasts his way inside. As soon as we can see this text appear in the bottom of the screen, hop out of the Spectre and make sure to fall off the ledge with the Spectre itself. If you time it correctly, you'll see the Spectre in the corner of the control room waiting for you. Doing this will allow you to do our next glitch, Johnson cloning, which is pretty straightforward. Just hop on the Spectre and drive up to Johnson, he'll jump into it with you, and if you wait, another Johnson will pop into existence. You can keep doing this until all the additional seats are taken. It's a requirement for Johnson to be present during the mission to help you with the boss fight. Him jumping into the Spectre tricks the game into thinking he's disappeared, so it spawns a replacement. We'll end with an extension of sword flying. butterflying. This can be done with both an NPC or a fellow player. You'll want to start by positioning someone above you and then repeatedly pressing X and B. The lunge or the melee attack pushes the person above you up, and the reload cancels the animation from completing so you don't end up actually hitting them. Repeating this allows you to fly infinitely across the map. Slight position changes and timing of the melee will allow you to control your trajectory. There's plenty more glitches you can accomplish in Halo 2. These were just the ones I enjoy and wanted to bring attention to. Did you ever pull off any of these back in the day? Did you have a favorite super bounce spot? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you enjoy Halo content, I've got a whole hour-long retrospective on Halo 1 that you can watch. If you like this video and want to see future content from me, then please consider subscribing and giving this video a like. And with all that being said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.